And talking more on the judgment debt, joining us live from Kaduna is an associate professor and head of the Department of Business Administration, Kaduna State University, Maryam. Abdu. Good evening. All right, looking more at the debt profile of the country, do you think it is a wise decision to acquire more debt to settle the judgment debt?
Well, to start with, I would want to give a summary
Okay.
of where we are actually. If you look at the Nigerian debt profile, it's saying statistically that by June of this year, our debt profile would have been 77 trillion. Now, that's a very large number. And what they're even saying is that by June, that means every Nigerian will have to pay maybe like 384,000 naira each, or 385,000 naira per person. So the debt profile really at 77 trillion is a large number really as it is. I want to go back and look at the statistics that where we are. We have unemployment of about 34%. We have a very high interest rate, about 26%. Inflation is quite high, GDP that's going about just 3.2%. According to IMF, World Bank is saying like 10%, but I think it's 3.2% GDP. And then we have a debt profile of 77 trillion expected as of June this year. Now, to me, that's really quite high.
All right, now, do you think this debt will have a negative effect on the incoming administration?
Well, I wouldn't want to say a negative. It depends on the team that the incoming administration have. I've always said that the incoming administration should put up a team that knows the economic position of Nigeria. They should have a think tank, a very good economic team that can actually address this issue. It's not good for us to have so much debt. We wouldn't want an administration coming in with so much debt in their hands and they have nothing else left
Okay.
for economic development. So what I would say is that really they should have a good team that can look at our debt profile and then address it.
Well, interesting. Or do you think it's the best way out of the current concern in settling this debt? I mean, with everything you've
Sorry,
said now, do you
I
think
didn't
this
see
is the
what you said.
best way
I didn't
out
get that.
for the current situation concerning settling of this debt?
Well, would I say best situation? I wouldn't say it's the best situation. It should have been managed. I understand, or we understand, that we have
Okay.
a world economic crisis. It's not only in Nigeria, it's a world economic problem, it's a world economic crisis. But I feel I'm more concerned about Nigeria, and I think we should know how to manage our crisis. We should learn how
Before,
we, we
okay,
can't keep
before I
on
let you
borrowing
go, how
continuously.
do you think this can be managed? Or what's your advice to the incoming administration?
Well, like I said, they should have a good team, an economic team that can look at our problems. We should reduce on the number of loans that we're taking. I would advise this incoming administration to checkmate the amount of loans we're going, both domestically and internationally. As far as I'm concerned, there are other ways of generating income or getting money. We can even approach the capital market. We don't have to look at external debt sources to finance some of our projects. So we should start looking inwards. But we should reduce the amount of debt, because if we don't do that, the administration is going to be faced with something called the poverty trap. And this is what we're trying to avoid. We don't want to be in a situation where we have borrowed so much than what we can actually produce in the country. So my advice is the income administration, reduce the number of external loans that we're currently taking, and let it be manageable, because we're trying not to go into the poverty trap.
Interesting. Thank you for being part of the news at this time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that was Maryam, Abdu, Associate Professor and Head of Department of Business Administration, Kaduna State University.